Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Will the sponsor yield to a series of questions?
Chairman Reagan.
I yield.
Representative Jones.
Thank you. Representative Reagan, do you not believe that college students are mature enough to talk about issues like race and systemic racism, some of the concepts you want to ban and have tried to prohibit being discussed at the college level?
Chairman Reagan.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. To the representative, I believe in God. All else is settled by facts and data.
Representative Jones.
Mr. Speaker, he didn't. That's not an answer. Let's try again. Do you believe that college students are mature enough to handle conversations about systemic racism and the history of oppression in America that you're trying to prohibit under this bill?
Chairman Reagan.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I have addressed your question already, sir.
Representative Jones.
So we're playing not answer. Okay. Representative Reagan, what type, you call this the freedom of expression bill, but it's prohibiting concepts from being discussed freely on college campuses, and it's instituting a rogue reporting process where students can report professors teaching this list of 16, 17 issues. Can you explain the impetus for this bill? What is the origin? What motivated you to write this bill? It seems like it's based off of white fragility, fears of teaching the truth of history. What was your reason for writing this bill?
Chairman Reagan.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. This bill was brought to me by a dean of college education who I worked with in addition to another university also contributed to this bill. That was my motivation, sir.
Representative Jones.
Can you name that person? Who asked you to bring this legislation?
Chairman Reagan.
I would prefer not to, sir. That's between me and the person who brought it to me. If you wish to discuss that in private, I'd be glad to do it.
Representative Jones.
Thank you. Representative Reagan, you grew up at a time where America was segregated. Under this bill, we can't teach that history. So I'm just trying to figure out how will we be honest about our history if you're prohibiting any concepts about America's racist history. It says here we can't talk.
So hey, Black women, the video that played before me and that will come after me is showing the GOP or the white racist Republicans that their old school brand of trying to lock down America with their racist tactics and their belief that only white people should thrive and strive in America. No one else is buying but those few handful of people, not even other white people who have sense, because the reason they don't want any black history to be taught or the true black history, and I should say the true racism and disgusting acts that America and the history of America is completely drenched in, is because those students are voters. They're new voters, and they're the biggest demographic of America who has not decided who they'll vote for. And when they send out these surveys about voting, these kids tend to wait to look at the information before they vote, which is the smartest, most respectable thing you can do, because a lot of these kids are children of people who have come to this country under asylum, people of color looking to come here to live better, make more money, live here and then go home and retire, whatever their issue is, right? And so these are the people who they're idiotically trying to convince that it's in your best interest as a person of color to be anti-black and not want to learn anything about black, but be pro-white in the way that you vote, in the way that you think, without them ever thinking that people of color have sense enough to understand that if you do this to the American black people who built this country, who made this whole infrastructure what it was off of the bodies, lives, sweat, tear, blood, and deaths of women, children, and males, right? If you don't want people to learn their story, means that you are completely disingenuous and you are a lying sack of shit, just trying to get your way, trying to deceive and hoodwink other people so that once you get finished screwing over black people, which is not going to happen because we're not going to let that happen. But if you were able to do that, you would then move on to Hispanics who are next in line. Asians, and then everyone else. So those people are not that stupid. And if they are, shame on them, because if history hasn't shown you anything, which is why they want to hide the history of America, is because America put Japanese people in concentration camps. They put the Chinese people here that was working as well on the railroads and in the mines and digging for gold in concentration camps too. All right? They did it to the black people. Everything that happened to the black people in the South, they did it to the Chinese and the Japanese just the same, which is why you have so many black people with the last name Lee, right? Okay. When the Asian people first came here, they had to live in the black communities. They got the same treatment the black people got. They got killed, they got beat, they got discriminated against. They did all of that until the Asian people decided to sue in court to be considered white. You know? So that alleviated them when they won their case. White people don't look at them as being white. They just know legally they can't do to them to the same extent as much as they would want to black people. So they can still kill them, they can still hurt them, beat them, disrespect them, do violating stuff to them, but they just can't do it as much as they do it to black people, otherwise they'll legally get into an issue. Okay, fine. So now you have the Hispanics. When they came here, right, they too got the same treatment and still do as black people, because they never went to sue and do the things that the Asian people did, right? But when they first came here, they used to kill Hispanic men in the street, sexually assault and violate the women, and then kill them. The same horrible things they did to black people, they did to all the other people of color who came here who were poor. And then when the poor immigrant people got together to fight back, they formed things like the mob and etc. to fight against the American police and the American Ku Klux Klan, who not only terrorized black people, but who terrorized Hispanics, Asians, Irish people, and Jewish people, and everybody else that came here that white American bastards from England decided were beneath them, even though they're not from this country either, and they stole it from the Africans who were here before the Native Americans and with the Native Americans. This is what they did. So the reason they have a problem with this being taught in school is because they don't want other people to actually think and see them for the pieces of trash and evil, sadistic, racist things that they are. When they write these laws, when they keep this country as nasty, wicked, and evil as it is, they don't want people to truly identify with that and start to come together to take over America. That's what they're fighting so desperately to hold on to. They don't want other people of color, anyone who may think they're white or not, to rise up to their level, because they feel like only those few handful of white people in this country and others that make a certain amount of money should ever be allowed to have a good life, and everybody else should just suffer, live in poverty, and live a deplorable, destitute life until they're dead. That's how they think, because they really are trash. That's it. Young people, make sure you vote. No white man in this country can stop you from learning anything. There's always books, the library, Google, real people, museums, and all the black museums, libraries, historical sites, and black people in the world to learn the history from. So if you really want to learn the history, there's nothing any white man can do about it, not even passing a law, okay? You just need to know that in order to make America great, you have to get rid of these racist white Republicans and Democrats in office that do not want to see you be able to live and have your family gain generational wealth the way theirs did. They want everything for themselves and nothing for anyone else. And that is not supposed democracy, right? Democracy means equality, which is something those white people don't even know the definition of, let alone going and working through the actual process to make America a place of equality. They rather die first. Keep that in mind and make sure you vote and keep people like Mr. Reagan completely out of office forever.
Data.
They are so afraid of the Justins. Did you guys hear the tape that was leaked from their backdoor meeting? They realized that they just catapulted them to national stage, and they're blaming their own party for it. One female representative voted against, even though she said she was going to vote for Gloria. And so now they're trying to gray rock. Basically, no emotion, not giving them any more than they have to. And they're digging their feet because they realize any sort of engagement with this person is going to put them on the news. These old white men are so afraid. It's wonderful.
I believe in God. All else is settled by facts and data.
So you're one of those that hide behind the Bible, right, Mr. Reagan? Well, let's see. Doesn't the Word of God say that He created all in His image? I mean, if it was real, right? And it says, love thy neighbor as thyself, right? So that's the part of the Bible you believe in and that you portray? And about your facts and data. You believe in facts and data? Would that be the embellished facts and data that you paid for? Or that people made up? Because, sir, you to me and every other person in America, you're a racist. And, sir, you are the unhealthy bile of your ancestors. You have the life you deserve.
To the representative, I believe in God. All else is settled by facts and data.
What? He asked you if you think college students can't talk about things like systemic racism, and you said, I believe in God, all the rest is facts and data. What does that even mean?
To the representative, I believe in God. All else is settled by facts and data.
That was his answer when asked about teaching Black history to college students. God, and then he had the nerve to use the word data. This is why people are leaving the church. This is why people are leaving the GOP, because this is all they have. They want to hold on to their old racist ways and keep everyone else down. Now, I'm going to probably get a comment or two saying, how dare I be racist towards white people? I am a white people, and I've seen this going on for years. This is ridiculous. And I'm not the only one who thinks this. Look at the comments in the original video. Look at all the avatars. They're about 98% white. We're all sick of it. GOP can go.
Question already, sir.
Representative Jones.
So we're playing not answer. Okay.
You gotta go back and watch the whole clip. I am so glad that both of the Justins got a national platform, because this is the expectation. If you're not staring down the barrel of nationalist Christians and the onslaught of fascism that they are bringing in with this kind of energy, just go home. Because there are very clearly younger and more talented and more determined people who deserve your spot more than you. DNC, listen to me. The old guard is tired. Take your centrists and go home, because this is the only acceptable standard from here moving forward. K thanks, fuck you, the youth vote you rely on.
Chairman Reagan.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. This bill was brought to me by a dean of college education.
Don't they call that a Freudian slip?
This is absolutely